How you going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to check for run out on your rotors. What I'll do first of all is I'll loosen off the wheel nuts slightly, get the car up in the air and then remove the wheels. The tool I'm going to be using today is this brake disc run out kit. All I'm going to do is set this up against the brake disc rotor here, and then I'll spin the disc round, and what I'll do is I'll measure that and I'll make sure there's not going to be any run out. As you can see, I've got slotted in cross-drilled brake discs here. So what I'll need to do is I'll measure it on the inside first, then I'll measure it on the outside. But I'll need to take into the fact that obviously every time it goes over this slot here, it's going to change the reading. But I should be able to hear all the way around to here, round there, and then round there. If you have a standard disc rotor, the measurement should be taken 15mm from the edge. As you can see in the kit here, I've got a set of mole grips, I've got an arm which is movable, and then I've got the gauge. All I'm going to do is just turn this anti-clockwise, and as you can see, the jaws here start to open. And then I'll clamp that down, probably on the top of the suspension there. As you can see, this thread here screws into the mole grips like so. And then on the other end, that slot, that hole, you tighten that up and then that will clamp the gauge. As you can see with the gauge here, this goes between 0 and then 60. So you can actually turn the outer ring of the gauge to 0 it, and then what happens is the measurement is actually here, as you can see. And if you look here, every single one of these spaces here equivalates to 0.01mm, and it goes from 0 to 10mm. That's the maximum. What I'll do now is I'll just put this in here. Tighten this up like so. So I'll do the inside edge first. All I'm doing here is just turning this clockwise, and that tightens up this arm here, this adjustable arm. And then once you've got it nearly where you want it to be, you then just turn this little handle 1/4 of a turn. Right, so as I said, you get this into the position, and you turn this handle here 1/4 of a turn. And then we zero the gauge. Now it's imperative that you make sure that the depth gauge here, the needle, is actually on the rotor before you start. Then you zero your gauge and then you spin the rotor. Right, I forgot to point out, I need to put some of these lug nuts on just to stop the disc moving around while I'm pulling on it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate the rotor round, all the time keeping an eye on this measurement here. So that's 2. +2. We've now went round to -2, -4, -5. And then that's us come back round to the start. So because we've went +2 to -5, that means that the total is 7. And 7 on here equates to 0.07 millimeters of run out on the internal part of the disc. So what I'll do now is I'll try the outside. Bearing in mind we've obviously got these slots here, so I need to take that into consideration. But I should be able to measure, obviously, these parts here. So I'll just loosen this quarter of a turn here, move it to the outside of the disc, make sure it's pushing on the disc, tighten the adjustment handle at the top again, and then I'll zero the gauge. Okay, let's rotate it. Bearing in mind, obviously, we've got the slot here, so this should change dramatically, the measurement, as it passes over there. Right, so we've got -2. This is the slot now. Right, so -3 after the slot, -4. I think that went up to about -5 there. Another slot. +1 slot. I'll just try it again. So as you can see on the outer part of the disc rotor, we had 5 in total, which is 0.05 millimeters of run out. Now what I'll do is I'll do the other side. What we want to do before we start the procedure is obviously give the brake disc a clean. Okay, it's the same again. I'll just put this onto the top of the suspension arm. Okay, same again. What we'll do, I've marked the disc rotor here. I'm just going to do 1 complete revolution again and then watch the gauge. So that's 1, 2, -1, so this one's out a maximum of 0.03 millimeters on the inside. Now I'll do the outside. Right, that's obviously the slot, so now I'll start. So that's 2, 3, now I'm coming up to a slot. Right, so we've had 3. Slot. Slot. So on this rotor, on the outside, I've got 3 marks here, which obviously equates to 0.03 millimeters. So this brake disc rotor isn't as bad as the other side. I don't know if that can, I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, but you can actually see the casting marks here and here. So it looks as if it's been 2 discs, 2 halves joined together. And I think obviously that could be giving me the vibration as well as the warping. I can actually see it on this disc as well. here, and here. So it's loads of different sections. That's what it looks like, joined together. Hence the reason I've been getting the warping, I've been getting the vibration when I'm driving the car every time I brake hard. And they always say that the poor man pays twice. These 4 discs rotors were relatively cheap, and I've only done 10,000 Ks, and they've obviously warped, so I'm now going to have to replace these again. So I'm just wondering if this gauge is going to change every time I go over these markings on the rotors. I'll go the other way. Right, now that's the slot. This is going to be the marking here. And another one here. So it's as if actually where this join is. Well, the verdict's in. The brake disc rotor is warped. I've only done 10,000 kilometres, which is obviously unfortunate, and I haven't even had many times where I've had some spirited driving. So I'm going to have to order up a set of front brake discs. I'll buy a different make, different manufacturer's make, because these are crap, these ones. That's it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Take care.